Navjot, Radha, I'm fine. Are you able to hear me properly? Please confirm. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So we are meeting, I think, after 2 weeks. There was some disturbance in my system here. And because of that, I was not able to take any of the live class or other things. Okay, so this is your almost end of algebra. We are going to have one more class tomorrow, that missed one, continuation of modulus. And then your algebra topic will be over. Good evening, Kashish, Prerna, Aditi, Arju. So how is your preparation going on? So a team member from iQuanta, they wish to know. कशिश कह रही हैं चल ही नहीं रही, ऐसा क्यों भाई? गुड इवनिंग आदित्य, रितिका, महेश्वर, सिद्धि. We still have 1-2 minutes remaining. If you have any confusion, any doubt, or anything you want to ask, you can. 47, what is that, Aditi? No, Aditya, you didn't miss anything. We are just going to start. Good evening, Anurag. अंकित सर चल नहीं रही, भाग रही है. That's good. Okay, because of semester exams. It's okay, no problem. That will be there for 1 or 2 more weeks maybe. Today we are going to discuss very basic things about functions. And I think you are having that application class also. There you might be getting some 1-2 step ahead questions also. Last 179 days के लिए motivation दे दो sir आदित्य. See, motivation, just focus on your target. Why do you want to do MBA? Do you really want to go to a good college? Can you settle down for a lower college? It depends upon you. If you really wish to go to a good college, then you need to work hard. If you are ready to settle to any MBA college, then it's okay. Algebra सबसे बड़ा problem नहीं है यानी. Yes, many questions. It's a major contributor in your CAT questions, CAT quant part, and not only CAT, all other exams also. And as I have said this repeatedly many times, in all the topics, it's not that you will be able to solve all the questions easily. There would be some easy questions from that topic, and there can be some very complicated questions also from that topic. So you must be able to figure out the easier ones and do them. That's it. I repeat, you just need to figure out, you should be able to figure out the easier questions from that topic and do them correctly. That's the only requirement. Okay, so strength is very less today. Any specific reason? It's about still less than 200, I see. Is it like that only in the previous sessions? Garmi? Yes, that may be the case. Okay, okay. So cyclone also. Yes, I just saw in Facebook one of the students had posted. Garmi, chutti, cyclone. There are many issues. College exams, right. There are many issues. Anyway, so I was checking some last sessions, last events, and I saw that in the end, their number of views reach up to 2K, 3K, something like that. Okay, so let's start, and we'll try to finish it fast. And as I said in the beginning also, that we are going to discuss very basic things in a very basic manner, and it's not difficult at all. You have been able to handle algebra so far. We started with basic equations, linear equations, quadratic, polynomials, and then modulus, inequalities, maxima, minima, many things. Sequence series also you have done, and a logarithm you have done. So many things you have done. So now this algebra is almost last topic. So it's not difficult now. Highest modulus, one part is the remaining Tathagat, so that will be covered tomorrow. So tomorrow, officially, that will be our last live class for algebra. Okay. Yes, I just told Shreya that modulus, the continuation of modulus part, that's the remaining part of modulus, that will be covering tomorrow. Quant का size बहुत ज़्यादा है. There are specified topics in quant ना. In LRDI or verbal, there are no specified topics. There are no specific chapters. We just have varieties of questions. In verbal, RC आएगा, या parasembl आएगा, या sentence completion. There are for some variety of questions. There are no chapters. But in quant, there are too many chapters, too many subtopics. Okay, let's start now. So this algebra function is this part. There is a live class tomorrow, I guess. There is a live class tomorrow. Okay. Let's continue. So we are discussing about functions. So what do we mean by functions? I don't know whether you have access to that non-engineering videos of these functions. I think I had explained there also. So function is just like a machine. Function is just like a machine. So function of x. So this fx, we denote it like this, fx. So fx is a function of x. So whatever value of x we input here, in the output, we get the value of fx. This machine processes, it results an output in terms of fx. This fx is what we call y. See, very simple machine. Let's take an example. Let's say this machine is having a function, say x plus 2. So whenever you will input x, it will give an output of x plus 2. Okay, na? So if you input 1, so what will be the output? What will be the output? It's 3. It's a very simple thing. You know, if x plus 2 is the function, so whenever we are inputting, whenever we are having an input of x, the result will be x plus 2. So if x is 1, then 1 plus 2, 3. If I input 2, it will be 4, and so on. Okay, now all the values of x which we are going to use here as input, there will be an output which is 2 more than that. It is the case. Now, my question to all of you is that, what all different values are possible for this x? What are all different values possible for this x? You didn't miss anything deep, we have just started. What are all different values possible for x? All real numbers. Yes. See, the requirement is that the numbers which we are putting inside this function, so they must be real numbers. They can be real numbers only, and the output must also be a real number. So basically, there is an unsaid condition in all of our questions that whenever we are talking about a function, so function means by putting the value of x as a real number, the output, that is the value of y, must also be a real number. So that is a mathematical condition required. Okay? I repeat. So we need to input a real number in this function, and the output must also be a real number. We can only input those real numbers which will give real number output. There can be certain real numbers. If I input, output may not be a real number, so that real number cannot be used as an input. Is it okay? So, but in this case, whatever real number we can use, maybe negative, 0, positive, fractional, rational, irrational, whatever it be, the output is always going to be a real number. So this will it will satisfy certainly that x can take any real number. X belongs to set of real numbers. X can be any real number. Okay, na? And what about y then? What values can y take now? What values can y take here? All real values again. So y can take all real values. So y is also set of all real numbers. Okay? So that is a simple function. We have taken x plus 2 here. So by changing the values of function, so we need to look for what values of x, for what real values of x, the y, the output comes out to be real number. Only those values of x can be used as an input. Is it fine? So in simple terms, we are trying to understand that what real values of x we can use as an input. The requirement is that the output, that is value of y, must also be a real number. Okay? So those values of x which we can use as input, they are called domain of the function. Now there are some of these technical terms here. All the values of x which can be used as an input for the function, that is called domain of the function. The values of x basically. Okay? Same way, the values of output, that means values of y, that set is known as a range of the function. Basically values of y. So although CAT has I have never seen any question in CAT in which CAT will ask what is domain of the function, what is range of the function. CAT doesn't use these words, but CAT asks you what can be the values of x, what can be the values of y. CAT asks question like that. I think it's non-engineering video here, Radha. Yes, it is there. Co-domain we are not discussing now. Jane do. Co-domain, co-range, no need. This much is sufficient. This much is sufficient. We are just, I'm telling you, these terms are also not used in CAT exam. CAT never asks about domain and range also. CAT doesn't use these words. But these words are sufficient for the time being. So domain is set of all values of the x which we can use as an input in the function, and range is set of all values of y which are output of this function. That's it. So no need to worry about co-domain, co-range. There are many other terms also. That's true. And that you can find in your 11th and 12th class mathematics. 11th, 12th maths. But that much is not required. That's what I'm saying. Yahan tak ki baat theek hai? Is it okay? We have just discussed what is the meaning of a function. We have discussed what is the meaning of the word domain and range. All the real values which we can use as an input, we will call domain. So CAT doesn't use this word normally, but if it uses, then we understand what does it mean. Same way, range is all the possible values of y, which should be a real number. So input may we have to use only those real numbers which will give real number output. That's the thing. Okay, now I'm going to change the functions, and then you have to tell me what can be the domain of that function and what will be range of that function. Okay? Fine so far? Okay. Maximum minimum भी पूछ लेते हैं कई बार. That's okay. That's okay. In the case of range, what can be the maximum value of y, what can be minimum? That thing we have already done. In maximum minimum question you have done. Na? Some expression is given and it is asked you what can be the maximum value, what can be minimum value. That questions you have done. Okay, let's move further now. So what is the function and what is domain range? That we have understood. Let's move further. Now, this is a set of domain. or basically values of x, and there is a set of range, basically possible values of y. So sometimes questions are given like that. This set here, as it is mentioned here, from set A to set B, a function is possible only when each element in A is associated with exactly one element of B. Vice versa, need not to be true. See, what does it mean now? Now this is a set of domain values of x, which is mentioned as A here. So let's say it has some elements, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay? And range, this is another set, values of y. So let's say it has some values, maybe A, B, C, D, E, like that. Okay? Types of functions आते हैं cat में, वो भी yes, we are going to cover that. अभी यहाँ पे बात कर रहे हैं, please remain here. First, now we are trying to understand how can we identify whether the combination of domain range set values is a function or not. That's what we are understanding now. And mainly these types of questions appear in counting part. Permutation, combination, counting part is there. See, now function का क्या meaning था? Whenever we are having one input, there must be one output. Right? That was the meaning. Let me erase the word domain and range. Varumi ji is not able to understand domain range. जाने दो. Varumi, do you understand the set of all possible values of x? Is it okay? Set of all possible values of x, there can be some values. Let's say these are 4 values, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same way, set of possible values of y, which is the output of the function. Let's say they are a, b, c, d, e. Okay? So now, as we discussed prior to this, that function means whenever we put some values of x in the function, there must be some output. Right? Now, for it to be function, what is the requirement? That for every input, there must be exactly one output. Let me write it like this. For each input, there must be exactly one output. Keep this thing in mind. You can write it for your reference. For each input, there must be exactly one output. Okay? Ha, Narayan, don't worry. We will come to that part also. Is it okay so far? For each input, there will be exactly one output. So, if I input this value 1, so there must be exactly one output. It can be any one of these. It can be A, or maybe B, C, D, or E, anything. But there must be exactly one output. That is the requirement. If I suppose map it like this, this one input, it is connected with A, and this one is also connected with B. Tell me, will it be called a function or not? Can it be called a function or not? हाँ, exactly. रोहित ने अच्छा word use किया, बेवफा type something. हाँ, ठीक है. This is not a function. So for each input, there must be exactly one output. That means each element of this set must be connected with exactly one element of the this y value set. So if this one element is connected with two elements, then this does not represent a function. Okay? Why? Because for each input, there must be exactly one output. Okay? So that means this is not a function. So let me erase it. So this is not a function. Now, if this one is connected with only one element, then it's fine. Now, second condition that each element must have some output. Each element must have output. It is not possible that only one element has output, but this 2 is not connected with any of them. The 2 must also be connected. Now see, tell me one thing, this 2 must also be connected. So is it possible that 2 is also connected to A? Is it possible that 2 is also connected to A? Yes, that is possible. See, our requirement was that for each input, there must be exactly one output. So for this 2 also, there is exactly one output. So this is allowed. So this is allowed. So this is a function. This will satisfy. Okay? But 2 cannot have any other image. This is also known as image. So this is the image of this set in this second set. Yes, this is called many to one. That's correct. Fine. Okay. So 1 is having one image in this y set. 2 is also having one image. 3 is also having one image. Let's say B. And this 4 is also having one image. Let's say D. So this represents a function that each element of this values of x is having one image in this set of values of y. Is it okay? Yes, 2 inputs can have same output. That is okay. That is allowed. But one input cannot have more than one outputs. For each input, there must be exactly one output. There cannot be more than one outputs. That is the only requirement. Is it fine? Okay. Rohit, basically एक input से एक output आ सकता है, but same output can be achieved from one or more input. Yes, exactly, Rohit. बिल्कुल सही है. That's fine. Exactly, Ayush, vice versa is not possible. That's what is written here in this typed words, this type sentence. So 1 to many is not possible, many to 1 is possible. Perfectly fine. That's true. Now that's a good question. Preetham is asking how 2 input can have one output in the function. Let's take an example. Say if I say y equals to x, is it a function? Is it a function? Please check. Is it a function? Yes. For each value of x, you will be having exactly one value of y. It's a function. ठीक है ना? Y is equal to x. For each value of x, you will be having exactly one value of y. So it is one function. Let's take another case. Y equals x square. What now? If you take any value of x, how many values of y you are going to get? Exactly 1. If I take x equals 1, then also y will have one value. If I take x equals 2, then also y will have one value. For every case, every value of x, y की एक ही value आएगी, right? But if you take x equal to +1 or you take x equals -1, the value of y is going to be same. That means two different inputs can give same output. Fine. So this is also a function. So someone was asking how two different inputs can give same output. So that's an example. Is it okay? I hope this is clear now. What is the meaning of the word function? Clear to everyone? Okay. Now let's try to identify whether the given expression is a function or not in terms of graph. I'm giving you graph. Let's say this is x-axis, y-axis, coordinate axis, and if this line, does it represent a function? Does it represent a function or not? A. Does it represent a function? Please tell me. Anand, wait, first answer my query. Yes, it is a function. For every value of x, there is exactly one value of y. For another value of x, there is again exactly one value of y. So this represents a function. This is a function. Okay. Let's take another case. This time, let's say again this is the coordinate axis, and this is the shape of the graph, parabola. Is it a function? Let's call this b. So a is a function. Now I'm talking about b. Is this b a function or not? Is this b a function or not? Yes, it is also a function. Same thing. What I need to check? I need to see that for all values of x, I must get exactly one value of y. Yes. So for this value of x, we have one value of y. For another value of x, another one value of y. But same value of y can be obtained for more than one value of x. That is fine. So this is also a function. Okay, let's take another case. Somebody asked about modulus function. So let's discuss about that. We had discussed that graph of modulus is something like this, V shape. So this is our coordinate axis. This is simple graph, x mod, modulus of x. So this is graph C. So is this a function? Yes, this is also a function. Let's say graph is a circle. Will it be a function? Is it a function or not? This was C, this is a function, but now this D, the circle, is it a function or not? Some are saying yes, some are still saying no. It is not a function. What was the condition to check? Forgot. For each input, there must be exactly one output. So for each input, that means for one value of x, let's say for this value of x, how many values of y you can see? This is one value of y and this is another value of y. For same value of x, you are getting more than one values of y. So this is not a function. This is not a function. Is it fine? Is it okay? I hope this must be clear, very clear now. What is the meaning of a function and what is not? So we can see algebraical expression also. We can see graphically also. Okay. Rohit was saying something. Let me check. Sir, but x square plus y square equal to 1 circle ही तो होता है. हाँ बिल्कुल होता है. That's an algebraic expression. X square plus y square equal to 1 is a circle. That's okay. But is this y a function of x? No. ठीक है? अरे difficult नहीं है भैया आकांक्षा. It's not difficult. Okay, so I hope this is clear so far. What is the meaning of function that we have seen, and that is the important point which I had put in this box. That for each input, there must be exactly one output. There cannot be any element in this set of values of x which is not having an image in the y set. Now, this set of values of x is what we are calling as domain. Okay, we are calling this set of values of x as by the name domain, and exactly same way the set of values of y we are calling it range. In the domain set, there cannot be any element unconnected. But in the range set, there may be some unconnected elements. Fine. Right now, we are checking whether function it is a function or not. We are checking in terms of y is a function of x or not. That's what we are checking. We are checking whether y is a function of x or not. So if x is the input, then fx or basically y is our output. Okay. So I hope this must be clear so far. What is the meaning of function? Now we shall move further. Types of function, all these things will be there. Is it clear till now? Good. Let's move further now. Before moving to types of function, first let's find domain and range of a function. There are the questions. So first tell me, all these are functions or not? There are 9 examples given here. Fx equals y, x square, x cube, log x, root x. Check in all these 9, which are functions, which are not. Out of these 9, which are functions and which are not. First check that. All our functions, yes. So what was the condition? We just need to see by putting a value of x, how many values of y I am able to get. Exactly one value. If I put any value of x, 1, 2, 3, y की value एक ही आने वाली है ना. In the second one also, if I use any value of x, there will be exactly one value of this complete expression. Same way here in every case. So all our functions. Fine. Okay. Now the next part is to check about their domain and range. Let's try to make a table like this, and I will help you in solving first starting questions. If y is equal to x, tell me the domain. What real values of x can be used as an input here? This first part, tell me y is equal to x. What will be the domain of this function? What values of x we can use here? All real numbers, yes, there's no issue. Our requirement was that we need to see that only those values can be input here for which output be a real number. So if I use any real value for x here, y will always be a real number. So all real values will work. So I can write r, right? Minus infinity to infinity, that's true. Infinite values, the set of all real numbers. And what will be the range? That means what will be the output for this y is equal to x? Again, all real numbers. Fine. So domain and range for this first function, that is y is equal to x, is a set of all real numbers, and range is also set of all real numbers. I hope there is no issue in that. That's very easy. Second part quickly, x square. What will be domain? Second part now, x square. What will be the domain? Will it be still all real numbers? Yes. We can use any real number as an input. Zero can also be used. Negative numbers can also be used. Fractions can also be used. Any real number can be used because square of x will always be a real number, right? Okay. Now what about the range? That means what about the output? Values of y? Will it also be all real numbers? Range will be 0 to infinity, right? Exactly. So this range will be greater than equal to 0. All real except 0, as Shani says. Why, Shani? Why except 0? 0 can be used as an input, no issue. And if you are using 0 as an input, output can be 0 also. But output can never be negative. So that's why it is greater than or equal to 0. Is it okay? Anurag, what is the doubt? See, y is equal to x square. If you use any real number as input, your output can never be negative, but it can be 0, na? अरे सचिन भाई, अगर आप x की वैल्यू नेगेटिव यूज करोगे, let's say -1. So domain can be negative, it's okay. But the range, the output, the value of y, it can never be negative. Square करेंगे तो it will not be negative, ना? Function is y equals to x square. 0 square, 0, -1 का square is +1, -2 का square +4, and so on. So the minimum value of the range would be 0, and it will be 0 up to infinity, as some of you wrote also. Is it okay? वत्सल जी गुस्से में है, काहे गुस्से में है भाई? No, not at all. Okay, सचिन को तो समझ में आ गया है, good. Clear to everyone? अंकित कुछ पूछ रहे हैं, r plus होगा है guys. हाँ भाई, yes, r plus, including 0. Okay, let's move further now. Next part, x cube now. What about domain? X cube, what will be domain? शुभम से सर स्क्वायर रूट ऑफ एक्स. हाँ, स्क्वायर रूट पे भी आते हैं, स्क्वायर रूट पे आते हैं, पहले एक्स क्यूब की बात करो. टेल मी एक्स क्यूब. All real numbers can be used as input, so it is a real number. Negative, positive, everything will work. What about the range? Range is again all real numbers. Log x. Log x now, tell me. For log x, what about the domain, input, values of x? Yes, greater than 0. You have done logarithm part. So in a log function, the value of x, the value of the expression whose log is to be found out, it has to be greater than 0. So x must be greater than 0 here. Equality will not work. It should be greater than 0. Exactly. Now what about the range? What about the values of y? What about the value of y? Yes, y can be negative also, and y can be positive also. And there's no restraint, no limit. Range is all real numbers. That's true. Range will be all real numbers. Is it okay? ठीक है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Root x. What about domain? हाँ, अनुराग, good question. How value of log can be minus? There is one like also on that. ठीक है जी. Log of 10 to the base 10. What is the value? Please write in comments. Log of 10 to the base 10. It's 1, right? When log of value is asked to the same base, it's always 1. And if I ask you log of 1 to the base 10, how much it is? Log of 1 to the base 10, how much it is? 0, because log of 1 to the any base, it is always 0. Now we know that log of only positive quantity can be figured out. So in place of 1, if it is less than 1, let's say log of 0.1 to the base 10, can you tell me the value? What will be this value? Log of 0.1 to the base 10, what will be this value? Yes, it is -1 now. Good. So I think Anurag was asking how log value can be negative. Yes, it can be negative. Okay. So log value can be negative. The output of the log function can be negative. It can be 0. It can be positive. All real numbers are possible. Okay. Okay. Coming to root x now. What about the domain of the set? Root x. Jaldi say fast. We have many things to do. We are just discussing the theory part now, and we are to do questions also. Root x. Yes, greater than equal to 0. Bobby, r plus में 0 भी आएगा ना? So greater than equal to 0 would be an easier way, compact way to write basically. Greater than equal to 0. Fine. Now what about the output range? What about the range? Range will be all real numbers. Whole numbers क्यों प्रेरणा? It can be fractional also ना? Yes, range will also be greater than equal to 0. Because root x is never negative. I think I told this earlier also. Root x is never negative. Somebody earlier was saying that positive negative दोनों हो सकते हैं. No. Is it clear to everyone? This range is always greater than equal to 0. It can never be negative. Let me take an example again. What is the value of root 4? Please tell me. What will be the value of root 4? Manav ji, when input is a positive number, so output real ही रहेगा ना? It won't be complex number. Yes, root 4 is 2. Is it 2 or plus minus 2? Some of you are writing plus minus 2. So bhaiyon behno, it is not plus minus 2, it is plus 2. It is 2. It is never negative. This is never minus 2. It's only 2. So always remember this thing, that root of a real number, root of a positive real number is always a positive number. अगर root of negative number होता तो complex बन जाता. So range cannot be negative. Yes, that's what we are discussing here. Range cannot be negative. Okay, now this is good question. प्रतीक्षा कहती है क्यों भाई, क्यों सर, ऐसा क्यों? हाँ, Preeti is also asking why. Okay, okay. Now let's check your previous memory. Do you know the value of root 2? Please write in the comments fast. What is the value of root 2? Approximate value of root 2. Value of root 2 approximately कितनी होती है? 1.414. Plus minus? Is it plus minus 1.414? No, it's 1.414 only. Plus only, right? What is the value of root 3? What is the value of root 3? Approximately? Yes, 1.732. Plus minus? No. Positive only. Similarly, root 4 is 2. Positive only. Is it okay? So root is always a positive value. Root always give a positive value. Fine. Never do this mistake. It's very easy. Very easily people do this mistake. पता ही नहीं चलता कोई mistake कर दिया. Logical यही है भैया. This root is always positive. When it is said, I have discussed this earlier, I remember. Let me tell you. Let's write here. If x square equals 4, then what is the value of x? If x square equals 4, what can be the value of x? अंकित क्यूब रूट में तो जो भी होगा आएगा. It is plus minus 2. ठीक है ना? If x square is 4, then x can be plus minus 2. So the intermediate step is actually that x equals plus minus root of 4. When we take root both sides, so we get x equals plus minus root of 4. So this root 4 is always positive 2. Plus minus is already along with it. If only root 4 is being asked, as we have written here, so that is always positive 2. But because plus minus is already there, that's why it can be positive 2 or negative 2. Okay, so never commit this mistake again. If x square equals 4, then x can be positive 2 or negative 2. That's fine. But if it is root 4 only, then root 4 is 2 always. It is not plus minus 2. Okay? और logical यही इसका meaning यही होता है. That's the meaning of this. That is the meaning of this root. ठीक है? Under root or square root, whatever term we use. So this is always positive. This is never negative. Okay, these are very simple things in which many students commit mistake. Okay, let's move further now. ये root text we have discussed. Let me create some space. जल्दी से जो parts बचे हैं, I'm erasing all this part. So the remaining parts, fast write the answers. 2 raised to power x. What will be the domain and what will be range? Yes, domain can be all real numbers. Negative numbers can also be used. No issue. So for 2 raised to power x, this is exponential function now. So x can be positive number, negative number, fractional number, whatever it be, it will okay, because the output will always be a real number. So all real numbers will work. What about the range? What about the range? Can range be negative? Can the value of 2 power x be 0 ever? It will be greater than 0, not equal to. It will be always greater than 0. ठीक है ना? Even if x is negative, then 2 power minus 1, 2 power minus 2, that will be still a positive number. It can never be equal to 0. So it will always be greater than 0. Fine. Next part, 1 upon x. 1 upon x. Domain set now. 1 upon x. Are all real numbers valid here? Yes, except 0. That's good, Sarthak. So all real numbers except 0. This x can be a negative real number, x can be a positive real number, but x cannot be equal to 0. Why it cannot be equal to 0? If I put x equals to 0, then 1 upon 0 is not a real number. So that can't be used in the values of possible values of x. Sixth का range again. Okay, see the graph. See the graph. 2 power x में, yeah, values check कर लो ना. 2 power x. If you take x to be 0, if I make the graph of this sixth one, if I take x equals 1, so it will be 2. X equals 2, it will be 4. ठीक है? And it will be increasing very fast. And if x equal to 0, it will be 1. At x equal to 0, 2 power 0 will be 1. If I take x equal to minus 1, so 2 power minus 1 is how much? That is 1 by 2. X equals minus 1, it will be 1 by 2. So it is decreasing like this. If I join all these values, it will be something like this. But it is never going to be negative. It is never going to be 0. So this value of the graph can never be going to 0. It will be increasing rapidly on the first quadrant, in this first quadrant, as the value of x increases. But if value of x is negative even, then also it is going to be fraction. See, if you take x equal to minus 100, so 2 power minus 100, please tell me whether this number is positive or negative. 2 power minus 100, is it positive or negative? It's a positive number. It is 1 upon 2. It is 1 upon 2 raised to power 100. It's still a positive number. Very small, but still positive number. ठीक है ना? So graph of all exponential expressions, exponential functions will be like this. ठीक है ना? Okay, let's move to the seventh part. So domain we have already written. So x cannot be equal to 0. What about the range for this? What about range? Range for 1 by x. Can 1 by x be negative? Yes, it can be negative. It can be positive. Yes. Can it become equal to 0? It cannot become equal to 0. So here range also is all real numbers except 0. Is it fine? ठीक है. Now there are two trigonometric expressions also. Sin x. So sin x we can use any input. All real numbers will work. No exception. And what about the range? Yes, it is minus 1 to 1. Inclusive of boundary values. मोहित आप ये कौन से क्वेश्चन का बोल रहे हो? -1 to 1, -0. Sin x में, sin x can be 0 equal also. Yes, -1 to 1 it will be. That's correct. That's correct. So range domain will be all real numbers and range is -1 to 1. Now what about this tan x? How sin can be negative? Arey, sin is negative in third quadrant, fourth quadrant. है ना? So for this tan x now, again all values, all real numbers are possible except odd multiples of 90. Yes, some of you have written that. So all real numbers except odd multiples of 90. Odd multiples के लिए sometimes we use expression 2n plus 1 times 90 degree or pi by 2. So these are the possible values of x. Yes, sometimes we get questions in terms of trigonometry. Don't worry, we don't get very heavy questions in trigonometry, but sometimes you may see questions based on that. This is just for our understanding that what values we can use as input and then what will be the output. हाँ मोहित 7th की रेंज -1 to 1 क्यों बोल रहे हो? ओके टेल मी मोहित आप ही बताओ 1/x can 1/x be equal to 2? Is it possible? Is it possible? Yes, take x equal to 1/2 है ना? So same way 1/x can be -2 also. So for 7th question this range will be all real numbers except 0. 0 is not possible. Okay, आकांक्षा से समझ नहीं आया sin x tan x याद रखना होगा बस जाने दो हाँ no need. If you are not familiar with sin x tan x it's okay, no problem, no issues. Cat is not going to ask इसका डोमेन बताओ इसका रेंज बताओ, no, cat is not going to ask. If you are familiar with what is the meaning of sin x, what is the meaning of tan x, then we are just checking that. So sin and tan they are the trigonometric ratios. So in value of sin is always -1 to 1. So whatever be the input angle. So you can put the value of angle to be any real number here. So the output is always between -1 to 1, inclusive of boundary values. In case of tangent, so tangent of 90 degree it becomes infinite. Tangents of 270 degree also become same, negative infinite. So the tan values can go up to positive infinity and up to minus infinity. And those infinite, the values which are tending to infinity, they are the odd multiples of 90. So that's what we have subtracted here. So tan x के लिए जो domain है, it is all real numbers except odd multiples of 90 degree. That's it. Will we have class on trigonometry also? In geometry part, slightly we'll be touching that. There will not be any specific class for trigonometry only, but trigonometry is a small topic which is used in geometry. So it will be discussed there. Okay? Yes, 90, 270 like that. That's why it is 2n plus 1 times pi by 2. And what about the range? It's all real numbers. All real numbers. Amar is asking why we excluded odd multiples of 90. So Amar, I just told that tan 90, tangent of 90 degree, what is the value? It is infinite. And we wanted to have those values of x for which the output is a real number. It should not become infinity. Same reason in case of 1/x we excluded x equal to 0. Why? Because 1 upon 0 will tend to infinity. ठीक है ना? That's the same reason here. Yes, Riya, there is no direct questions on trigonometry. Rarely you can see one or two, not two, I'm just exaggerating. Trigonometry is not a part of CAT. Trigonometry is not a part of CAT, but slightly in some places you can see trigonometric expressions, rarely. And if you have not done trigonometry ever in your student life, earlier in school life, then you can safely leave it, no issues. Okay, let's move further now. Is it okay so far? So we have understood what is the meaning of function, what is the meaning of domain, what is the meaning of range, and we have found it for some basic functions here. And let's move to the next part now, the different varieties of functions, different types of functions. हाँ, geometry में भी Akhila is asking, geometry में नहीं है sir. See, I think some of you only asked me what is your favorite topic, and I had told earlier that geometry is one of my favorite topics, and I never use trigonometry to solve any question. I have never used, although trigonometry can be used to solve many questions, but I personally never use trigonometry. All the questions can be solved without it, so it's not required. It's not a must topic. If you're familiar, you can do it. It's okay. If you're not familiar, then it's not required. It's okay. लो जी हो गया साइड में. Okay, let's move further now. So I'm moving to next slide. Now here's the first question of the day for you. Please solve it. राधा, हर टॉपिक से एक मतलब एक क्वेश्चन, दो क्वेश्चन, मतलब 2 मार्क्स 3 मार्क्स इतने क्वेश्चन आते हैं. In algebra you have studied many topics, तो हर टॉपिक से एक क्वेश्चन ही तो आएगा ना. It's an easy question and it's now cat-like question. Okay, many of you are getting the answer, and I think almost all of you are getting same. It's x should be more than 3. That's true. That's correct. So we have to find the domain of the function. That means we need to find the possible values of x which we can use here, and both are the logarithmic functions. So you know that log is defined only for positive values. So this 3x minus 2 must be greater than 0, which means x must be greater than 2/3. And the second part tells us that x square minus 9, this must be positive. And this gives us the value that x should be greater than 3 or it should be less than -3. So but both conditions must be satisfied. So the common solution is that x must be greater than 3. ठीक है ना? We need to take the common solution. The common solution which satisfies both the conditions is that x should be greater than 3. So 3 to infinity, that's fine. So that will be the domain of this function. Gunjan says, how minus 3? Array, x square minus 3 is greater than 0. How will you find the range for x? This is a quadratic expression, na? We have done in quadratic part also. See, x square minus 9 can be factorized like this. It is x minus 3, x plus 3. And we want it to be more than 0. This quadratic, it's upward parabola. With two critical points adds 3 and minus 3. This is 3 and minus 3. And because we want it to be positive, so when this graph is positive, when x is more than 3 or less than minus 3. Hai na? X is more than 3 and x is less than minus 3. Is it okay? Can it be equal to 3? Equal to 3 won't be there because this expression must be positive. Log of 0 is not defined. Na? Log of 0 is not defined. So we can't make this expression of inside the log to be 0. So x can't be equal to 3 or minus 3. It should be more than 3 or it should be less than minus 3. Means equality will not be there basically. Okay? Priyanka is asking infinity kaise? Bhai 3 se bada kahan tak? Priyanka, you tell me, it is more than 3. Up to where? Is there any limit? No limit. Some of you are asking, इसी सवाल का range क्या होगा? So that's a question for you. I'm not discussing it now. I have many more things to cover. Is it fine? Priyanka, I guess. Priyanka, is it okay? Got it. Dhanyavad. Okay, let's move further now. You can find out the range and tell your answers in comments later. So let's move further now. Okay, see, can you answer this question? For all real values of x, find the range of this function. I think we had discussed this question earlier also. But let's check. This is your test now. Solve this question and answer. For all real values of x, find the range of this function. Yes, we have done this expression. We have talked about this expression in maximum minima. Is it all real numbers? Many of you are writing R. No, it's not all real numbers. You need to solve it. Just by seeing the expression, you cannot say it. Great, I have got one correct answer by Aditya Goyal. Nice. Bobby, is it copied answer or have you solved it? By the way, that's correct. See, this expression, this function is equal to y, so we have to find the possible values of y. So 1 by 3 to 3, that is the correct range, and that we have solved earlier also. How? Let me do it again. So y equals x square minus x plus 1 upon x square plus x plus 1. So x is a real number, so that y also comes out to be real number. So right now we are looking for those values of y which are possible. For which x should also be real number. It's not that y can be any real number. If y, as earlier you were saying, y can be any real number. So if you take y to be any real number, will x be real number in that case? You haven't checked that. So we need to be careful about that. So how to go about it? So just simplify it and it will be a simple quadratic equation. So let me cross multiply. It will become y times x square plus y times x plus y equals x square minus x plus 1. Fine. And then making it a quadratic in terms of x. So x square, when I bring it here, it becomes y minus 1 times x square. Then minus x will become positive. It will become y plus 1 times x. And finally, y minus 1 equals 0. Fine. Yes, now this discriminant must be greater than or equal to 0 because this equation, this quadratic equation in terms of x is having real values of x. So x will come out to be real only if its discriminant is greater than or equal to 0. Remember that part? So what is discriminant? B square minus 4ac. That means y plus 1 whole square minus 4 times y minus 1 into the c, that is y minus 1. It must be greater than or equal to 0. Now that again will result in a quadratic inequality and you can solve it now. Bobby, it's okay. I accept that. You must have solved it. Good. I was just confirming. That has been a practice of students many times. When somebody gives the right answer, others just copy it and paste. That happens. That's why I asked. हाँ तुलिका, that's correct. X plus 1 by x से भी करा था हमने, right, right. Anyway, so now it can be very easily simplified. So this is a square minus b square because y plus 1 whole square minus this is 2y minus 2 whole square, that is greater than or equal to 0. So again we can use a minus b, a plus b, and that is a quadratic inequality. On simplifying we will get the two values of y, that y is greater than or equal to 1 by 3 but less than or equal to 3. So that is the required range here. ठीक है, कौशानी से मैक्सिमम मिनिमम का वैल्यू ही डोमेन दे रहा है ना, वन क्वेश्चन इन टू वेज. यस, इट्स नॉट डोमेन, बेसिकली इट्स रेंज. मैक्सिमम मिनिमम का वैल्यू इज गिविंग अस रेंज हियर. आकांक्षा ये समझ नहीं आता सर. हाँ, अरे मेरे करने से समझ थोड़ी आएगा, आपको खुद लिखना पड़ेगा ये. यू नीड टू राइट इट योरसेल्फ, then you will be able to understand. Otherwise it's very difficult. I have praised you people many times. On screen seeing long expressions like that is very tedious task. I know while seeing this is on normal board also it's a difficult part. On the screen seeing this is very difficult. You need to solve it on your own. It's very simple thing. It's very simple thing. It's not difficult. But if you will solve it on your own, then you can get it easily. It's simple quadratic equation, and this quadratic equation will have real values if its discriminant is greater than or equal to 0. And discriminant, that is b square minus 4ac, should be greater than or equal to 0. Only that part I have written here. ठीक है ना? Tathagat, I have just repeated that. So this is a quadratic equation. By rearranging it, we got a quadratic equation in terms of x with the coefficients in terms of y, y minus 1, y plus 1, and so on. So because x is a real number, it is mentioned here for all real values of x. Because x is a real number, so its discriminant must be greater than or equal to 0. And just using that condition, we got this as our answer. हाँ, y signed with 3 change. अरे ये भी बात हमने की थी गुंजन. We have solved this question earlier. Let me see after this what will be the next step. A minus b, a plus b, right? A minus b, a plus b. So y plus 1 minus, let me write it here. So from this step onwards I'm writing. So a minus b, a plus b. So y plus 1 minus 2y and plus 2, that is a minus b, and then y plus 1 plus y plus 1 plus 2y minus 2. So this is a minus b, a plus b, it is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so far we have just used simple identity. Now simplifying this, y minus 2y, it will be negative y, plus 1 plus 2, that is positive 3. So minus y plus 3 into y plus 2y, that is 3y, plus 1 minus 2, that is minus 1. This should be greater than or equal to 0. Now this is again a quadratic inequality. This is a quadratic inequality. So if I take negative common here, so this is y minus 3. This is minus times y minus 3, right? And this is, again, if I take 3 common from here, so this is y minus 1 by 3, which is greater than or equal to 0. So compensating this negative part, or if I take this whole expression on the right hand side, it is going to be positive now, which is less than or equal to 0, which means, so this is 3 times y minus 3 into y minus 1 by 3 should be less than or equal to 0. Now this expression is nothing but a quadratic expression, again upward parabola. In terms of y, in place of x it has become y, so it is looking like this only. Now this expression is upward parabola with critical points as 3 and 1 by 3, 3 and 1 by 3. So these are the values of y now, right? And this expression should be less than or equal to 0. So this is less than or equal to 0 only in this range. So the maximum value of y possible is 3 and minimum is 1 by 3. That's how we got this. Okay? फोर कॉमन कैसे हुआ? कौन सा 4 कॉमन कैसे हुआ? This is not 4 common. 4 times, अरे बाबा y minus 1 whole square है ना. 4 if you take inside it will become 2. So 2y minus 2 whole square. That's it. Okay? See, I have written every step here. You can take a screenshot and try it with your own hand again afterwards. Yes, we have solved it. Somebody commented in between. We solved this question by using that a plus 1 by a also. Okay, let's move further now. So far we have discussed just questions based on domain and range only. Now we are going to move to the next variety, that different types of function. So here we come here, different types of function. So these are some of the common categories. So constant function. What is the meaning of constant function? So constant function is where y is some constant value, let's say 2. ठीक है ना? Y is equal to 2 or 3 or any constant number. So that's a constant function. What will be the shape of graph for this constant function? So on coordinate axis if you are drawing, so constant function means y equal to 2. So it will be a parallel line parallel to x-axis. That means y is going to remain 2 whatever be the value of x. So this constant function graph will always be a parallel line parallel to x-axis. Fine? Okay, next part now. Is it okay with constant function? Yes, parallel to x-axis. That's it. Next part, identity function. The meaning of identity function is that that y is equal to x basically. Y equals to x. So this equation or this line is called identity function. So the graph for this will be a line passing through origin and in a way bisecting first quadrant and third quadrant equally. So this line, that is y equal to x, that is known as identity function. Okay, they are just terms. You must be able to, you must be just familiar with them. What is the meaning of identity function? What is the meaning of constant function? Now this is the important part. What is the periodic function? So periodic function, this is an important part. As in general, we write y, our function as y equal to fx. So periodic function means by changing the values of x at after certain interval, the function is going to repeat itself. Let me repeat. Periodic function is such a function in which when we change the values of x, so after certain values, the function repeats itself, which means this fx is equal to f of x plus p. If I change the x, if I replace this x by x plus p, so after that many values, the function becomes equal to itself. That is called periodic function. Yes, trigonometric function is an example for that. So the value repeats, the graph repeats basically. So sin x, trigonometric function, as you are given example, that's an example of this. And there can be many more such examples also. We are going to solve many questions based on this. And in CAT periodic function base, there had been many questions. On the basis of periodic function, there had been many questions. So we must need to remember these two things. Graphically, you can see the graph repeats just like trigonometric function. So sine ka graph, you know, sine 0 is 0, and then it goes up to 1, and then it come back to 0. Then again, it becomes negative, goes to up to -1, then 0, and after that it repeats. Right? So this is called a periodic function. So after this much part, again the same graph repeats. So graphically, we can interpret whether the function is periodic or in terms of the values that fx and then after fx plus p, it is having same value. So expression, in terms of expression also we can find out, figure out it is a periodic function. Fine, and we are going to solve some questions based on this also. So so far it is fine. Aditya is writing something. क्या लिखा है ये? A sin WT type graphs. घबराओ मत, लोगों को डराओ मत भाई. Chintan, don't worry. So far we are just discussing the various varieties of theoretical terms. These are just theoretical terms. Now we are going to solve questions. We just solved 1 or 2 questions. Now we are going to solve more questions. So constant function का meaning क्या है? That we have discussed. Identity function is just simple this line y equal to x, and periodic function, this is the important part, and we are going to solve questions based on this. So let's move further now. That's another thing. That's another important part. Even function and odd function. Even function and odd function. So what is the meaning of even function? Even function is that function in which the y is fx is our function. So in place of x, if I write minus x, that means f of minus x, it remains same as that of fx. It doesn't change. If I replace x by minus x, the value remains same as that of fx. So that function is known as even function. Can you think of any such function in which if I replace x by minus x, but value remains same? Can you think of any such function? Exactly, minus डालो plus निकल कर बाहर आएगा. Mohit, that's correct. Can you think of any such example, any such function? Yes, x square, exactly. If I take function to be x square, if x is equal to x square, it is going to be an even function. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? X power 4 also will work. Yes, mod x will also work. Nice. Mod x will also work. X power 4 will also work. ठीक है ना? अच्छा, can you see any common part about all these even functions? Any common thing? Graphically, in terms of graph, if you see, any common thing about all these functions? Yes, that's true. Any even power will work. That's true. Cos is also true trigonometric in terms of trigonometry. Sarthak, good. Let me write it here. Cos x, because cos of negative x is also cos x. In terms of graph, in terms of the graph of this function, do you see any symmetrical part, any common part in all of these? See, if you draw the graph of an even function, if you put positive x value, you are going to get some value. If you put same numerical value of x but in negative sense, but the value of y remains same, that means graph is going to be symmetrical about the y-axis, isn't it? Yes, it is symmetrical about y-axis. So for example, for y is equal to x square, you know that it is upward parabola. For x mod, this is like v shape. X power 4 also it will be slightly steeper parabola. Same way for cos x also, you will be having a graph that cos 0 is 1. It will be starting like this, and it will be starting like this and going that way. And on the left hand side in negative quadrant also, it will be going like that. So basically, it will be symmetric graph about y-axis. So even function, for even function, we have seen 2 things now. One thing was this, that f of negative x equals to fx, and graphically it is symmetric about y-axis. Fine so far? Is it okay? Okay, let's move to the second part now, odd function. So it's quite obvious now. So in even function, f of negative x was equal to fx, but now it is not so. Now what will happen? So in case of odd function, f of minus x comes out to be negative of fx. ठीक है ना? If you replace x by minus x, then it comes out to be negative of fx, or which in other terms you can write like this also, that f of negative x plus f of x becomes equal to 0. So that is a way to identify whether a given function is odd or not. So in whatever way we can check it, so this is the basic way, and using that basic way only we can figure out that if fx and f of minus x, they add up to 0, that confirms that it is an odd function. Any example for this odd function? Yes, you have already mentioned that x cube sin x, that's true. Odd power wale, exactly. So odd power wale, so x cube will work here, sin x will work here, and there can be many more also. So far it is okay. Now, can you think about the graph of odd function? As the graph of even function was symmetric about y-axis, what about the graph of odd function? Will it also be symmetric about something? Exactly, Mohit, perfect. Odd function ka graph, it will be symmetric about origin. Okay, let's see the graph. So, if I take any value of x, there will be some value of y. Okay? At certain value of x, we are getting some value of y, fx. So, at same value of x with negative sign, the fx becomes negative, but same value. So this graph will be symmetric about this origin. These two values will be symmetric about this origin. Again, if I take some other value of x and there is some value of y, and same value of x with negative sign will be having same value of y with again negative sign. So graph may have any shape, but it is going to be symmetric about origin always. So the graph is going to be symmetric about origin. So that is the nature of the graph of an odd function. Is it okay? मैनेजमेंट में ये कहां यूज होगा, ये सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है अभी. राइट नाउ ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस थिंग्स एंड द क्वेश्चंस आर आस्क्ड बेस्ड ऑन दिस थिंग्स इन कैट. ठीक है. राहुल शर्मा से सिमेट्रिक अबाउट x इक्वल टू y. सिमेट्रिक अबाउट x इक्वल टू y, नो. सिमेट्रिक अबाउट ओरिजिन. Okay, GIF भी है ना, greatest integers function. Yes, that is also there sometimes. That we have discussed in numbers also, no? So we are not going to discuss it again. Okay, let's move further. So far we have seen even function, odd function, and here is one question for you. It's a CAT question. Please solve it. It's a CAT question. It is asked that function log of this thing is an odd function, even, neither odd nor even, none of this. We have to identify that. Please solve it. This is a CAT question. It is a previous year's CAT question only. So try to solve it fast. Specifically, we need to check whether it is even function or odd or none of them. I can see in your answers, some of you are saying A, some of you are saying B also, and C also. Of course, D can't be there. Either it is going to be odd function, or it is going to be even, or it is none of them. Neither odd nor even. Even या odd कैसे होगा? Aishani, good question. We just discussed that. How to confirm whether the function is even or odd? What was the condition? For even function, what was the condition? That f of minus x equals fx, right? For even function, this was the condition. है ना? You can put that. So fx is given to you. So by putting x as minus x, so is f of minus x and f of x, are they equal? Check that. And for odd function, our condition was that f of negative x becomes equal to negative of fx, and which in turn meant that f of negative x plus fx comes out to be 0. We just discussed that in the previous slide. So you just need to put the value of x, we just need to replace the x by minus x and then see whether the two values come out to be same or their sum is equal to 0. If it is neither of them, then answer would be option C, neither odd nor even. And if it satisfies either of the two, then you can figure out whether it is even or odd. है ना? Yes, odd is the correct answer. Option A, odd function, that is the correct answer. Let's see how. Let's see how many of you figured it out. Highest log 1 is equal to 0. That's true. Venkat, that's true. Good. So log 1 is 0. Okay. So fx is given to be log of root x square plus 1 plus x. That is fx. So what would be f of negative x? So f of negative x would be, we just need to replace x by minus x. So it is going to be log of This negative x का square will remain same, x square, so x square plus 1. This term is same, but now this term will become negative x. ठीक है ना? So we just need to check whether these two terms are equal. Certainly they can't be equal. Root of x square plus x, ये minus x, they can't be equal. तो even तो नहीं होगा. And for odd, we need to check whether their sum is equal to 0 or not. Let's add them. So if I add them, what I'm going to get, it is sum of two log values. Do you remember log m plus log n? How do you simplify this? Log m plus log n? Yes, it is log of m into n. We just need to multiply the two values, m into n. So it is log of m into n. So in that case, in this case also, it is going to be log of product of these two brackets. Isn't it? Now, these two brackets, if you see, it is a plus b into a minus b. This is root plus x and this is root minus x. So a plus b into a minus b means a square minus b square. So let's simplify it further. It is log of this a square minus b square. Now this a square would be is root wali term ka square, that is x square plus 1 and minus x square. So this x square will be cancelled out. It is simply log of 1, which is equal to 0. So that satisfies this condition. So it is certainly an odd function. Fine. So this small calculation was required here, and as I said already, this is a previous CAT question. So CAT directly asks. So we just need to identify whether it is odd function or even function. So we must know what is the meaning of even function, what is the meaning of odd function, and then we need to be able to work with log. And many of you, I could see in the comments, log dekhte hi question avoided, rejected, retracted, and pata nahi kya kya. But you can check out the previous CAT papers that every time, every year, at least one question from log is certainly there. As we are discussing arithmetic part also, there could be some topics from which you will not get any question. It might happen, but there are some topics jinse question aana hi aana hai. Same way, log is such a topic. In every paper, you will find at least one question. Hardly there will be any paper in which there is no log question. Log is always there, and it is a simple thing. It's not difficult. Okay, so I hope it is clear to everyone. So it's not difficult part. We must know what is the meaning of even function, how to check whether a function is odd, and then we are to just put the values and simplify. So it is confirmed here. It is an odd function. Okay, let's move further. Okay, there is another variety of question now. Function, inverse function. This is also an important part. Inverse function. Assure a square minus b square is equal to a minus b into a plus b. So in that expression, let me write it again. That was root of x square plus 1 minus x into root of x square plus 1 plus x. So this is a minus b, a plus b. If you will multiply them, it will be a square minus b square. A square means root of x square plus 1 ka square, nahi? And minus b square, that is minus x square. Now, when we are squaring a root term, so simply root is going to be cancelled out. It is x square plus 1 and minus x square. And now this x square minus x square, that will be cancelled out. It is 1. And we had log with all these terms. Now finally it is log of 1, and log of 1 is equal to 0. That's it. Okay? Okay, now quickly let's move to this inverse function. Now what is the meaning of inverse function? So we have y equals to fx. So generally we have function in this form that y is a function of x. So y has been written in terms of x. Let's take a simple example. If y equal to maybe 2x plus 3. Okay, y equals 2x plus 3. This is a function in terms of x, right? Y is a function in terms of x. Now, when we talk about inverse function, what are steps to do? We need to find inverse function of x. It is written like this: f inverse x, f inverse x. Sometimes y negative 1. ऐसे भी इसको लिख लेते हैं. But how to solve it now? How to find its value? So we need to write the expression, rewrite the expression. We need to write the value of x in terms of y. So this y minus 3 becomes equal to 2x, or basically x becomes equal to y minus 3 by 2. Yes or no? Okay, I've just rewritten it. I have rearranged it. I have written the value of x in terms of y now. Okay? So basically inverted it. Now to find the f inverse x, or basically inverse function, we just need to interchange x and y, and the new y, that new y is basically our inverse function. So if I interchange the values of x and y, so it comes out to be that y equals to x minus 3 by 2. I've just interchanged x and y here, and now this new function is basically inverse of the original function. Now it is written as f inverse x. Okay? So if y was 2x plus 3, then its inverse function is x minus 3 by 2. That's it. Okay? So that is the meaning of inverse function. So what we have to do, we have to basically interchange x and y. That's it. We have to just interchange x and y. And graphically, if you will see what I'm doing, what we have just done here, I have interchanged x and y. That means I have put x equals to y, right? I have put x equals to y. Nahi aaya. Let's take another example. Let's take another example. Everyone please solve it. If y equals to ax plus b, y is a function. This ax plus b. Please find its inverse function. Please find its inverse function. Shubham, it is function. उसमें value क्या लूँ? It's expression ना? It's an example only. Now solve it. Y equal to ax plus b. Find its inverse function. Good. Many of you have done it. See what we have to do. I just need to first write x in terms of y. So it will be y minus b upon a. That is the value of x. And now just interchange x and y. Just replace x by y and y by x. So it becomes y equals to x minus b upon a. Now this is the inverse function. This is the inverse of the original function. If this was our original function, fx, this was fx. So now this is f inverse x. That's it. Okay, na? So it is x minus b. The complete part is divided by a. This complete part is divided by a. And most of you have not mentioned the brackets. Akshat has done that. So this complete part is divided by a. Fine. Now, what I was saying, to find out this inverse function, what we have done, we have just interchanged x and y. Basically, we have equated x and y. So that's how the graph of inverse function is always symmetrical about this line x equals y. Symmetric about the line x equals y. Now, this is a very important part. I'm repeating. The graph of inverse function, by the way, this was a linear function. It can be any shape function. किसी भी shape का हो सकता है. This but inverse, there are two inverse functions. So the inverse functions are always symmetric about the line x equals y. That is in terms of graph. ठीक है ना? So how to do it? That's what we have done. So we have written the value of x in terms of y, and then we interchange, we replace x by y and y by x. That's it. Fine. Okay. Now question for you. Here it is. Please solve this. If fx equals x plus 6 upon x plus 2, find the value of x for which fx is equal to f inverse x. F inverse x is inverse of this function. So you first need to find out the inverse function here, and then it is given that both inverse function and the function they are same. So by equating, you have to find the values of x. You have to find the value of x. Don't give me the expression. Find the value of x. I think you have found this inverse function here first. Kavya Mishra, right. I think this is, yes, Kavya Mishra, I think this is correct. Yes, many of you have got that now. Good. See, we had just discussed how to find inverse function. Let's first do that. So this fx is basically y. So this y equals x plus 6 upon x plus 2. I just told you to find the inverse function for this. I need to write x in terms of y, then interchange the variables. Okay, let's do that. So it becomes xy plus 2y equals x plus 6. And what should I do? Let's take the 6 this side. So it is 2y minus 6 equals x minus xy, which means x times 1 minus y, and it is 2y minus 6. So x comes out to be 2y minus 6 upon 1 minus y. And now just interchange x and y. So this y is equal to 2x minus 6 upon 1 minus x. So this expression is nothing but inverse of the original function. So 2x minus 6 upon 1 minus x, many of you have already found that. So this is the inverse function of this original function. And in this question, it is given that both the function and its inverse, they are equal. So by equating them, you will get a quadratic, and which you can solve to find the value of x. So x plus 6 upon x plus 2 is equal to this 2x minus 6 upon 1 minus x. You can very easily cross multiply and simplify this. So if I simplify x into 1 into x is x plus 6 minus x square minus 6x equals to x into 2x, that is 2x square, x into minus 6, that is minus 6x, 2 into 2x, that is 4x, and this 2 into minus 6 makes it minus 12. Now 2x square minus x square, it makes it 3x square. This is minus 6x minus 6x, that can be cancelled, and 4x, and this x makes it positive 3x, minus 12, and this minus 6 will make it minus 18 equals 0, which means cancelling out 3, it is x square plus x minus 6 equals 0. Now this is very easy to solve. It is x square plus 3x minus 2x minus 6 equals 0. I'm just using splitting the middle term, and by taking x common here, so this is x times x plus 3, and this is minus 2 times x plus 3, which means x minus 2 into x plus 3 equals 0, which gives the two values, whether x is equal to 2 or it can be minus 3. So these are the two values. Many of you have already got that. Good. Any other way to solve this question faster? Any other way? Can you think any other way? This is one of the ways we need to find the inverse function, and then we are equating it with the actual function. Can you think of some other better way, faster way? Yes, put this expression equal to x. Good, Srishti. Very nice. See, this was y equals to this, and to find inverse function, what we are doing? We are putting this y equal to x only. And we know that this inverse function is equal to the original function. So that means this original function is equal to x. Yes, so just put x equal to this expression, and we will again get the same equation only. Aditya, skip to pura exam hi kar do bhai. And that is not the way to solve. We are asking how to solve it faster. I'm not asking how to skip the question faster. So this expression is equal to x only because fx is equal to f inverse x. Now try to understand this thing. We had just discussed, I just told you that inverse function, I'm telling that again. Listen, everyone, I'm telling this again. We just discussed that that inverse function is symmetric about the line y equals to x. Okay, na? We just discussed that earlier, that inverse functions are symmetric about the line y equal to x. Let's take an example. Let's take an example. I'm erasing this part. See, let's say this is the coordinate axis. So if this is the line y equals equal to x, so let's say there is one equation like this. This is the function. This is the function given. So what will be its inverse? It will be symmetric about this line y equals to x. That means jitna yahan par y, the value of y is here, same will be the value of x here in its inverse part. And as it is going towards y axis, it will be going towards x axis in exactly symmetrical manner. Isn't it? So that is going to be the shape of the two graphs. They are symmetric about the line y equals to x. Fine. Now in this question it says find the value of x for which fx and f inverse x are equal. So equal kab hone wala hai? When it is going to be equal? When both of them are on this, they lie on this line only. Right? F inverse x and fx, they are going to be equal only when both of them are going to lie on this line y equals to x only. So that's what we are discussing. Y equals to x. That means this y is nothing but it is equal to x only, as Shrishti mentioned there. So this x must be equal to x plus 6 upon x plus 2. That's it. Just simplify this and you will get the same quadratic equation. So that will be slightly easier way, slightly shorter way. Although idea is same. So, but then now we don't need to find the value of inverse function first and then equate. Directly we can say it like this. Is it okay? It is just skipping 3-4 steps in between. Okay, I'm moving further now. I think we have discussed all the theory points here, all the varieties of functions. Now there are different varieties of questions which we are going to discuss. Tathagat, just keep this thing in mind. I just said this, that inverse functions are symmetric about the line y equals to x because we are just replacing x by y and y by x. तो यहाँ पर जो भी value x की थी वो y की हो जाएगी, जो y की थी x की हो जाएगी. That's the only thing. ठीक है ना? So I have taken this example. So if this is my fx, then this is going to be f inverse x. But in this question, it is required that fx and f inverse x must be same. So how they can be same? It is only possible when both of them lie on this line only, which is y equals to x. So that's how I'm putting this y equals to x only. So directly we can put this y equals to x and simplify this to get the required answer. ठीक है ना? Anyway, let's move further now. Otherwise, the basic method we just discussed earlier to this, you find the inverse function first and then equate them. You're going to get same thing. There's no difference. We are just trying to make it little bit shorter. Okay. There is one variety remaining. Composite function. Composite function. Now, what is the meaning of composite function? Composite function is that when there are more than one function involved. Let's say there is function fx. Fx equals to maybe x plus 3. I'm taking an example. And there's another function maybe gx. And this gx equal to say 2x minus 1. Okay. So both of functions are having x as the input and their outputs are different. So by putting x here, so fx gives x plus 3 and this function g, it gives us the value 2x minus 1. Now, if I ask you what will be the value f of gx, think and tell me how to do this now. F of gx. Now this is called composite function basically. This is called composite function. Now how to find this value? Yes, Fogg Gove, that's correct. Yes, we just need to put the value. So here we had put the input as x and the answer was x plus 3. Now here the input is gx. So answer is going to be gx plus 3, right? And gx is this 2x minus 1. So in place of x, we had to just input this 2x minus 1. So it is basically f of 2x minus 1, right? So gx was 2x minus 1. So it is basically f of 2x minus 1. And whatever is the input, we have to add 3 to it according to this function. So it is going to be 2x minus 1 plus 3, which means 2x plus 2. That becomes the answer. Okay, na? Right. Okay. What about g of fx? Answer it fast. G of fx. G of fx. Yes, exactly. Good, Karan. That's 2x plus 5. Nice. So exactly same way, it is going to be g of fx. Fx was x plus 3. So this function g, whatever is input, it is twice of that input minus 1. So same way here, it is twice of this input. It is twice of x plus 3 minus 1, which gives you 2x plus 5. See, the both values are different here. So it is not necessary that f of gx and g of fx will remain same. They can be same in some case. They can be different also, as we can see here. Okay, na? I hope you got the idea of this composite function. So that was the example to understand what is the meaning of composite function. So it need not to be linear. It can be quadratic also, and some any higher degree also. We just were trying to understand what is the meaning of, what is the idea of composite function. Okay, let's see now what is given here. Okay, here's one question. Fx is x square minus 5x and gx is x plus 2. Question is find the minimum value of f of gx minus 3. Please solve it. Is it 3 by 4, Kavya? I think. Please recheck. Many of you are getting that. Gunjan, Satvik, Rahul is getting something else. Yukta is a different answer. I think it should be minus 37 by 4. Yes, minus 37 by 4 is correct. Aditya, after that, it is simple quadratic ka minimum batana hai na? See, first we need to figure out this expression f of gx minus 3. So fx is given, gx is given. So f of gx, let's first figure that out. So if input is gx, that is x plus 2. So we just need to replace the x by x plus 2. Hai na? So it becomes x plus 2 whole square minus 5 times x plus 2. That becomes the value of f gx. Now this given expression is f of gx minus 3. So basically I need to find the minimum value of x plus 2 whole square minus 5 times x plus 2 minus 3. For this expression, we need to find this minimum value. Now this is simple quadratic equation. Just simplify it first. So it comes out to be x square plus 4x from here and minus 5x from here. So it is minus x plus 4 minus 10, that is minus 6, and minus 3. That makes it minus 9. So this is the final expression. So x square minus x minus 9, we need to find the minimum value of this. Yes, minus 37 by 4. Now most of you are getting it. Good. So I hope you know how to solve it. We have done it many times. You must have practiced it also. So this expression will have its minimum value because it is upward parabola, and its minimum value will be at, yes, we can complete the square, that's one thing, or otherwise at x equals to minus b by 2a. At x equals to minus b by 2a, we are going to get the minimum value. So b here is minus 1. So it comes out to be minus of minus 1 upon 2a, that is 2. So at x equals 1 by 2, we are going to get the minimum value. है ना? At x equals to 1 by 2, we are going to get minimum value. Yes, minus d by 4a, वो भी कुछ लोगों ने याद किया, अच्छी बात है. So I'm just putting the value x equals to 1 by 2. So by putting x 1 by 2 here, so the minimum value is at x equals to 1 by 2. So it is 1 by 2 square minus 1 by 2 minus 9. So you can simplify it. Let's take the LCM. So LCM will be 4. So this is 1 minus 2 minus 36. So 36 and 32, 38, negative sign, plus 1, that makes it minus 37 by 4. So this is the right answer. So this thing we have already done. So we just need to use this part of composite functions here. So what is f of gx? First we need to figure that out. And minus 3, and it is simple part now. Okay. Shubhangi is asking, we cannot reduce 3 separately after finding the roots. No. Roots will change, na? Okay, that's a good question. Shubhangi is saying, koi parabola hai. If this is a parabola, it is having some roots. Let's say these two roots. Now subtract by 3. So subtract by 3 means y will decrease. So what will happen? This graph will shift 3 units downwards. If this graph shifts 3 units downwards, the shape is going to remain same. Graph will shift 3 units downwards. Will it pass through same points or 3 different points? It will be different points now. It will be something else. It will be going outside. I have drawn it wrongly. Wait. Graph will be something like this. When it is shifted downwards 3 units, the roots will change. So it is not going to be same. So don't be confused in that. We just need to simplify it together. Vedanti is asking, is there another way to solve? What another way? We have to find f of gx, compose function, and then simplify. Which part you want to have different solution? To minimize this, we had done many ways. To find the minimum value of this, we had done many ways. So this was one of the way that at x equal to minus b by 2, this will have minimum value. I use it here. And we had done that by completing the square. That was another way. Or what else? Directly was there's one solution at the minimum value is minus d by 4a. That was also one of the case. बिना solve किए कैसे करें? हम मत solve करो. I told you that part also. X square minus x minus 9. So it is what? This is x into x minus 1 minus 9. So at x equal to 0 and x equal to 1, they are symmetrically placed, right? So the expression will be minimized at the mid value, that is x equal to 1 by 2. Just put the value x 1 by 2. So I don't need to do minus b by 2 as we did here, minus b by 2a. Directly I can see from here, at x equal to 0, this expression is minus 9. At x equal to 1 also it is minus 9. So that symmetrical value lies midway between 0 and 1, that is x equal to half. So to minimize this expression, we had done various ways. So whatever you're comfortable with, you can do that. Okay, quickly let's do 1-2 more important good questions. Now this is another variety of question. This is called functional equation. Functional equation. And this variety of questions had been a favorite of CAT, I think since last 10-15 years. Constantly, every year they used to give this one question. Not exactly same question, by changing the values. This is called functional equation. So f of x plus y equals fx plus fy plus fx into fy. So this is some relation between fx only, function में कुछ relation दिया है, and one value is given, f1 equals 3, and we have to figure out the value of f5. How to do it? Any idea? Iterative function is also same part, composite function का part है, Koshani. We are repeating fog की बजाय ff कर लो. But right now do this. How to solve this part? What do you think? Value put करके, Aditya says value put करके. ठीक है, that's a good way. Let's do it together. So f1 we know. Our idea is to find f5. I think if I put both x and y equals to 1, so we can figure out the value of f2, isn't it? If I use x equals to 1 and y equals to 1, so f of 2 we can figure out. It will be equal to f of 1 plus f of 1 plus f of 1 into f of 1. ठीक है ना? So right hand side we know completely, so that's how we can find out the value of f2. Let's see. So f2 comes out to be, f1 was given 3. So this is 3 plus 3 plus 3 times 3. How much it is? It is 9 plus 6, 15. So f1 was given 3, f2 we had just figured out, it is 15. Same way, if I put x equals to 1, y equals to 2, we can find f3 also. But before that, see, this is one of the ways f3 you can find out. Simultaneously, we should also try to figure out, is there any pattern here? 3, 15, there can be some pattern here. We are getting answer, Diptanshu, Shriram, Yukta, they already figured out the answer. Okay, quickly find the answer, f3 क्या आएगा? Try to figure out f3. f3 you can figure out by putting x equal to 1 and y equal to 2. That can be done. Let's see what happens, and keep this thing in mind. I want you to have a look at these values, 3, 15 and whatever value comes here. Can you find out any pattern here? So let's see. I'm figuring out f3. So for that x1 by 2. So f of 1 plus f of 2 plus f of 1 into f of 2. So f of 1 was how much? It was 3 and this was 15. So 3 plus 15 plus 3 into 15. That is f3. How much it comes out to be? 45 plus 15, 60 plus 3, 63. Okay, now see, can you get any pattern? Are you able to figure out any pattern? Otherwise, by the way, we have reached very near to the answer. To find out f5, what we need to do? We can simply do f3 plus 2. So f3 bhi malum hai, f2 bhi malum hai, we can find out the answer. But before that, are you able to figure out any pattern so far? See, it looks to me something like this. This is 64 minus 1, isn't it? This is 16 minus 1, isn't it? And this 3 is 4 minus 1. है ना? So 64 ये कैसे बना होगा, ये 4 कैसे बना होगा, 16 कैसे बना होगा, that we need to figure out. So it is basically 2 raised to power 2 minus 1. This is 2 raised to power 4 minus 1. This is 2 raised to power 6 minus 1. Are you able to identify the pattern? Yes, answer is going to be 2 raised to power 10 minus 1. Exactly, wonderful. So basically, fx is 2 power 2x minus 1. So based on these numbers obtained, we can identify the pattern. So our answer is going to be 2 power 10 minus 1, which is 1023. Otherwise, we have reached almost to the end. f3 plus 2, you can put the values and get the answer. Okay, are you getting it? Okay, class over hone se pehle we will do just 1 or 2 more questions. This part is clear. So final step we can do and we can verify also. Let's see. So f3, f2, that means 63, and this was 15 plus 63 into 15. And if you will simplify this, you will get same answer 1023. So either we go step by step like this, or we have a close look at the value pattern in the values also. So whatever you can do faster, that will give you answer. Okay, I'm moving quickly to just one more question. Please answer this. This is again very easy question. Read it and answer it fast. Now this function is defined according to the relation between x and y. This is called piecewise function. The value of fxy is equal to x minus y when x is greater than or equal to y, or fxy equals to x if x is less than y. Just last question. Okay, if you don't want to do it now, you can take a screenshot and solve it later. Abhishek, answer is not correct. It will continue ना, it will continue चलता रहेगा ना ये. You are fine. See, here x is more than y, so it becomes 1060 minus 97. You got the value x minus y, but it will be repeated. I think it is not mentioned clearly here. What should I say? ठीक है. I think whatever is written here accordingly, that part is okay. Repeated यहाँ पे लिखा नहीं है. Repeated यहाँ लिखा नहीं है. So otherwise, actually, question में it is something like this. Say on simplifying this, you get the value as x minus y. That is 1060 minus 97. 60 गया और फिर 37 हो गया, that is 963. ये iterative function वो बोल रही थी ना, वही चीज दिमाग में आ गया. So it is repeated then in that way that in place of x we put that x minus y. That is a new x. So it becomes now next. What will be the next value now if I write like this? F of 963, 97. What it will be now? You again need to subtract 97. You again need to subtract 97, isn't it? So the whatever is value, it is again more than 97. Again we are going to do it. So in a way, what is happening? You are repeatedly subtracting 97 from this number 1060. Now if you continue like this, ठीक है. अभी whatever is asked here, accordingly it is 963 is fine. That is fine. But what type of questions we get? This process is to be done iteratively, repeatedly. Repeatedly, this process is to be done. So 963 minus 97. Again, the value is more than 97. Again, subtract 97. So repeatedly, when we are subtracting 97, what we are getting actually? Finally, we are going to get the remainder. Right? Finally, we are going to get the remainder of 1060 with 97. Yes or no? Subtract till how much? That's what I'm saying. Subtract till you can, because when x will be less than y, in that case, that remaining number will be the answer only. Yes, so 90 would be the right answer. That's Tulsi, that's correct. 90 will be the answer then. Yes. There's some mistake in this question here. It is not mentioned clearly here. But the one student was asking about that iterated function. That is an example of that only. This process is repeated repeatedly until you get a single number now. So right now, as you got 963, so in place of this x, we are using this 963. So again, you are subtracting this, so you will getting some value. Okay? And again, that value is more than 97. So again, 97 would be subtracted from that. So repeatedly, we are subtracting 97. So whatever is the remaining value less than 97, that is nothing but the remainder when 1060 is divided by 97. So that is the question here. Okay? Not always, Srinitha. So it's not always. It depends on the question. It is not mentioned here actually. There is a missing part here. In actual CAT question, this type of question has been asked repeatedly, where you need to repeat these steps iteratively to get the final remainder. Shortcut is there, na? Ananta, it's a shortcut only, there remainder. You just need to find the remainder. 1060, if you have to find remainder with 97, how do you do it? You just need to find remainder. It's simple number. They're simple, easy numbers. You can directly find the remainder by numeric division. Why to, Navanil, we don't need to subtract 97 now, na? Directly we can find the remainder by direct division, normal division. Harsh, I'm just looking here only that I just need to put some extra information here that this process is to be done repeatedly. That's what I'm thinking. What sentence should be added here? Anyhow, I hope you have understood the thing. What I'm saying. Now, whatever question is written here, for that 963 is the obvious answer. But this process needs to be continued till we get only this number less than 97. That's how we get the remainder. Yes, we'll get the remainder as 90. Okay, so let me stop here. So that's all for the day. And there are some more good questions I was supposed to do, but anyhow, time is almost already over. It's 10 minutes ahead. So we shall stop here. And please solve more questions in your practice, this application class today. And next class, we have one class left for algebra now. That is our remaining part of that modulus. Okay? Okay, thank you. I know I have eaten a lot of your brain, but that's valuable part. That's good part. If you practice, it is certainly going to be helpful. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Good night. I guess algebra will be over in this week. Next week, we will be starting with the next topic. Bye. Good night. Thank you. After this algebra, you are left with, I think, that permutation combination and geometry. The other two broad major topics. Yes, practically you have enough material. Like quantum book material is sufficient, more than sufficient. Okay, fine. So I'm ending the session now. Thank you once again. Hare Krishna.